Welcome to another episode of Life Beyond Clinical Practice. Today we're continuing on the topic of why it's important to have a niche focus area when you want to pivot, grow, or scale your professional impact. In part 2, we're going to deal with how you can identify your area of focus. Let's walk through a simple, grounded way that you can use to identify your niche. Firstly, starting with your lived experience. This is so rich. Who we are is embedded in what we do with our lives and who we are becoming, to live authentically through our own personal stories and experiences. So I want you to think about what topics you naturally talk about or educate people on. Secondly, what problems have you repeatedly solved? Whether it's sort of in your undergrad years, as a professional, in your youth, what did people naturally come to you for? What conversations continue to energize you? Your niche is often hiding in the work you've already been doing. And so taking a deep dive into, okay, what is it within or outside of work that has been a consistent thread or that has not left me, even if it's something outside of your professional discipline, something that's just always been a part of you. That is usually an indicator of the direction in which you can build and success threads. Ask yourself, what do people come to you for? What results have you created over and over? Where have you made an impact without even trying? This is usually your natural skills, abilities, people, things just recognize in you and compliment you for. These are signals, and you should use them to inform your pivot direction. Thirdly, follow your curiosity. We sometimes think it doesn't have space in the realm of growing our careers. And again, as I said, it doesn't have to be curiosity about things in your discipline. It can be curiosity about things in the world. How can you marry that with your interests, with the things that naturally light you up, with the things that have been a consistent thread in your life? So your niche should not only be built from your past, but also from where your heart is pulling you to now. So curiosity is data. Energy is data. So much like you need to understand the things you're curious about, understand the things that don't spark curiosity. Because when you recognize those in a particular area, you know that if there's no curiosity in that area, your staying power is going to be very short-lived. So you must pivot into a direction that keeps feeding that curiosity in new ways, much like energy. If you know the things that deplete your energy, stay away from them in your pivot journey. You need to understand what depletes your energy and what energizes you, and move in a more positive direction that fuels your energy. Then check for market relevance. Is there a real need for whatever this niche that you're crafting is? And if not, how can you position that? There are always ways to strategize around how you can take something that maybe on the surface may not appear obviously a need, but align it with other issues in society, in your field, and then it becomes something of relevance that people become curious about and recognize as filling a gap. So is there a problem that people are aware of that you can position your interests, your energy, fueling activities as a solution to? Are people seeking help for a particular problem? Is there something that they've been consistently frustrated about and can't seem to get the answers anywhere else? How can your expertise and interests address that? People or companies willing to pay for the kind of support that addresses these needs or gaps? And then you craft your messaging about how you can close some of those gaps, how you can help organizations and companies potentially address something that's been a long-standing issue and build a stronger customer base and improve health outcomes, whatever it may be. Whether you're working for healthcare organizations or industry, how can you craft your messaging to present your niche as a solution to an identified need or gap? And then validate this with small experiments. You don't have to get it perfect the first time. You can write a post about something you're curious about, or you think maybe addressing a need. See what sort of comments and traction you get from that. Run a mini workshop. Host a small Q&A. See what sort of feedback you're getting from people. If the message is resonating with people and you get lots of engagement, that's usually a signal that there's an issue here that needs solving. There's a niche that you can position yourself to address. If people feel strongly about a particular issue and there aren't lots of answers or solutions to that issue, you can start presenting yourself as someone who's a thought leader, someone who's crafting, actively working towards solutions to that, putting solutions on the table, suggesting different ways of doing things so that we can improve whatever the situation may be for individuals, organizations, countries, a particular issue, right? Professors. So when you pay attention to what resonates with people and what feels aligned and how you can use experimentation to refine your niche, it doesn't have to be perfect, but get feedback and start shaping how you can craft a space for yourself as someone who can lead, add value, advocate for change in a particular area. Then it's important to bring your niche into your personal brand. People must know what you stand for. What are your values? What's your standpoint on that particular issue? Once you identify your focus, your brand becomes so much easier to build, because all that you say, your headline on LinkedIn, the wording of posts you put out on social media or in academic journals, the themes around which you have conversations are all informed by that. So identifying your focus area is so important, because then you can build a personal brand that becomes recognizable. People start to see you as someone of value they want in their corner, in their space, in their organizations. So clarify your message. Your brand should answer who you are. What problems do you solve? What issues are you passionate about contributing to? What outcome do you want to create for individuals, organizations, patients? And why you? What do you uniquely bring that can add value to the space? So knowing your own value, knowing your transferable skills, knowing what you're passionate about and speaking confidently about that helps to reinforce your brand. Then aligning your content, what you say, who you engage with, all of this should reflect your niche. The kinds of conversations, posts you comment on LinkedIn, professional meetings you attend, all of this should really go back, reflect back to your niche and the value you want to bring to the world. And this is important because consistency builds trust. People begin to see you as a thought partner and a potential future leader in that space. So if you want to differentiate yourself, it's important to become known for one thing first. Get clarity on what that one focus area is. Build a following, build a brand, get known for being in those spaces, and then you can sort of diversify and collaborate in different areas. It's only when you consistently show up in certain spaces that your authority can be built. When you say the same thing in 10 different ways across different platforms, people start seeing what you stand for, seeing what value you have. They start seeing the conversations in your head, these themes that have been consistently a thread in your personal and professional life that are interwoven into your engagements with other professionals. So when people think of your niche, and it's important to name that niche, they should think of you. And that's when you know you've successfully crafted a space for yourself, been able to differentiate yourself from the pool of clinicians in your field as someone with authority in a particular area. Lastly, it's important to network with purpose and power when you want to build a niche. Now, let's talk a little bit about networking. When you have a niche, networking becomes intentional instead of random. You want to align with people in similar spaces. Go to where your niche lives. Join the rooms, events, circles where people in your chosen space or part gather, and be part of contributing to that conversation. And lead with generosity. In the beginning, certainly it's about serving others, giving of your time, contributing your expertise, adding to the conversation. It's not about what you can get, but rather what you can give. So offer value, share your insights, be bold and confident in sharing the things that you feel will move the needle in that area of interest or the problem that you're trying to solve. Ask thoughtful questions. People start to see you again as a leader. Now, I encourage you to do the homework and find at least 10 to 15 signature relationships, not hundreds, just the right ones. People or organizations that you can align yourself with that fit into your niche when you are clear on what that niche is. Because these will be people who open doors for you, refer you, recommend you for jobs, invite you into collaborative spaces. And that when your niche is clear, people instantly know Dr. Diane is a person who talks about career pivots. The clearer your niche, the clearer your networking and referrals. So choosing aligned collaborations is important because collaborations can accelerate your growth, but only when they aligned. So before you say yes to everything and anything simply because you want to exit out of clinical practice or grow your career or grow your influence, ask yourself, does this audience match the people I want to serve? Does the message reinforce my brand? Does this partner share my values? Values are critically important. Does this opportunity move me towards what I'm building in the future? Or is it becoming a distraction from the things I should really be doing? So less is more. You'd rather have fewer intentional collaborations than lots that are all over the place and not moving you forward. Because the right collaborations will multiply your impact, but the wrong ones will dilute your message. And so keep that foremost in mind. It's so important to be intentional, to be selective, if you want the next phase of your professional career to be meaningful and fulfilling. So as we bring this episode to a close, I want you to see clarity as a gift. And I'm going to leave you with this. A niche is not a limitation. It's a permission slip. Permission to be focused, permission to be known, permission to build a career that feels aligned with who you are becoming. And when you choose your niche, you choose your direction, then it's easier to know what kind of jobs to apply for if you're looking for jobs in organizations or industry. And that direction becomes the foundation for your momentum. So if you want to get clear on what matters to you, what direction to take your career in, what niche to craft for yourself, I invite you to book a strategy call with me. And let's get that first step done right, because everything else will follow from that clarity. You owe it to yourself. It's a gift to yourself. Do the work to get clear on what the next phase of your career ought to look like for it to be meaningful, impactful, and fulfilling. And then do the work to build in that new direction. Until next time, stay curious, stay courageous, stay aligned, and keep believing in what's possible for your career. Goodbye.